Greetings and welcome to Spin a Yarn Live, the Tea Time Book Club and Crafting Circle. Today we are talking about Book 6 of the Myth series, as well as maybe other things. No. Interact with the channel at, or on Twitter.
That's not right.
On Twitter, I'm a professional, at #YarnItAll. Or go on to Reddit at subreddit r/spinayarnlive and enter the discussion thread. Or, of course, chat on the YouTube video, comment below. Many ways to comment. But tell us what you are working on. And what are we working on?
Okay. So if anyone who's on Sauce at VidCon, I'm working on the same thing I was working on then. I'm working on this candle flame shawl pattern from knitpicks.com. It is a free pattern using lace weight. I think it's wool. Yeah, it's wool. Lace weight yarn, and I'm adding a little flare to it. It's kind of hard to see, but I am adding beading into it. If you follow my Instagram at another yarnaholic, you can see the beadwork in a little bit more detail. But yeah, knitpicks.com, candle flame shawl. It is a free pattern. Easy enough. I wouldn't really call it beginner. I would say maybe advanced beginner.
Huh.
Like, because it's not that hard, but you have to keep track. Like, you really have to count your stitches and know where you are. So, advanced beginner.
Excellent.
Are you working on the same thing, baby?
I'm working on the same thing.
You're always working on it.
Yeah, our Season 2 project, which may be for the next 10 years. We'll see.
Well, the problem is, so okay, look. You see all this. You see all this that I've done. I've done it, over time. I don't just sit here and work on this, when I'm sitting in front of you. But this is the only time Paul ever works on his cross stitch.
It's true. So I should have chosen something even smaller.
It's adorable what he's doing, and I can't wait for him to be done. But I just wish he'd work on it some other time than when we're sitting on this couch.
There'll be years and years and years.
Years and years. Yeah.
Okay, and what are we drinking?
We are just going real classic today. We're drinking some Earl Grey tea, some Twinings Earl Grey tea. If you've not done this before, I highly recommend a little slice of lemon in your cup. It just really, really brings out the notes in Earl Grey. So I'm going to do that. I don't know if Paul wants to do it. He likes to be kind of a purist.
Well, I just don't trust myself with modifications.
Well, I've already cut the slice for you. It's not a big modification. You're just...
To the point that I don't even use salt and pepper, because I'm a weirdo.
It is strange. I like spices in my food. And I like seasonings and stuff. So I just put the lemon slice in and then pour the Earl Grey right on top is what I do it. Do you want me to do it for you, baby?
Yes, please.
Okay. And then you can take, for you, I would recommend go ahead and taking a sip and see if you like the little bit of lemon. I will probably puncture my lemon a little bit to bring it even more to the forefront. Because I'll tell you what, man, nothing beats a nice hot cup of Earl Grey tea with a lemon poppy seed muffin. That's
True.
Just totally where it's at. But if you don't have lemon poppy seed muffins, like we don't, so I didn't make any. So I've been busy. Just putting a little slice of lemon in your cup is great. And yeah, you can go ahead, if you don't puncture it too much. Oh, we have a kitty. If you don't puncture it too much, you can use it for like several cups. Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Alright, perfect. And just checking our channel, see if there's anything interesting. There never is.
Well, Paul's not all... It's weird.
Sure. Well...
Because Paul is far more tech-savvy than me. And yet, I'm the one who's saying, maybe we should do like an Instagram or a Twitter or something like that so we can reach out to people.
Yeah, I'm not good on social medias, which you need to be if you're... Ooh, that's hot. If you're doing YouTube type things.
Yeah.
But... As is.
And if anyone is interested in how I got the beads into this pattern, if I don't get too distracted, you might actually see me do it. So, ha ha ha.
As long as you get up to at least one bead.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we are talking about Little Myth Marker.
Little Myth
This
Marker.
is my second favorite myth book. It has problems. Of course it has problems. But we start introducing a whole lot more characters. We change the status quo quite a bit. And, I mean, to be fair, Robert Asprin is really good at changing status quo. First, Skeeve is just an apprentice to a magician, who then dies. And then he's a court magician for a little while, and then he starts living on Deva, and so there's a lot of changes all over the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I guess you could say it's good storytelling, following this one guy around and, you know, seeing all the different shenanigans that he gets into. Straight up shenanigans, man, straight up.
Oh, yes.
You know, I mean, and if you've been following this series at all, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Skeeve, and I can't even really honestly say that I think he's getting better. I think he's getting older, which is good. He's sort of coming out of a very adolescent phase, but I don't know. I'd rather read about Harry Dresden. You know, if we're talking about male leads.
Yeah.
But he's still, he's getting there. He's getting there. This book, I will say about this book, it is very short. I mean, you know, I read it in a day. I think Paul just read it in an evening.
Yeah.
Being a faster reader than I am. Oh wait, did I screw up? Oh. Hang on. See, this is the problem with lace. You gotta pay attention. I didn't screw up. Okay.
Good.
But you still have to pay attention.
Yeah, we also get Skeeve learning a little bit more about fashion.
Yeah, which was always weird because Robert Asprin never really bothered to describe what any of his characters were wearing until Bunny really came along. Because then it was like, oh, well, Bunny dresses in this manner, and when she travels around the bazaar, she's not so much interested in like the trinkets and things like that. She's looking at the clothes. So now we have a character who is into fashion and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like there's a brief description of what Skeeve is wearing when Bunny is being a little critical, and
which is the imp suit, basically. Impish inspired.
Yeah, and I was like, I guess, but yeah, I was really taken aback. Like, whenever I read, you know, I try to get a full vision of what everyone is wearing, and if the clothes haven't been specified, and not every author is going to specify the clothes. I mean, to be completely honest, it's not usually that important. Unless it's part of their look, like Dresden with his duster, or with, I don't know, say Harry Potter and their uniforms. You know, it helps to kind of figure out, oh, what does it look like when everyone's sitting down in the Great Hall? Well, everyone's wearing black robes and pointed hats and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that helps to give you a good visual. But if it doesn't matter, you know, then why make it matter? But then I was always kind of visualizing, since he was a magician, and that's his reputation, I was always kind of visualizing wearing wizarding type robes, like a long robe thing with maybe flowy sleeves or something. And then to read that it was totally not that, I was like, oh, yes, I think this is good that Bunny is here to help him out, because obviously he does not know what he's doing.
Yeah, and of course I always go with like the peasants.
Like
look,
something like that,
like on the previous book.
Yeah, like it's
just
downplayed.
Regular peasant stuff, but apparently he's been trying to dress like the imps because they're flashy, so we're told.
Yeah,
well,
they're trying to get people's attention.
He's dressing like this, we're told. We know the imps are flashy. We got a description on the imps when we met them in book 1.
Wait, imps or Devils?
Imps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Brockhurst and...
Yeah.
So, yeah, now we get a little play about how to do like a quiet power type outfit.
Which I appreciate. It made me think a little bit of Marcone. of Gentleman Johnny Marcone, and how
if anybody has quiet power.
Yeah, he's not flashy, but since the suit that he wears is worth more than like Dresden's whole house, that's especially for somebody like me who's studied fashion. I immediately think of a really slick, tailor-made Armani suit or something like that. Beautiful silks, very subtle wools, things like that. So it was kind of and I think it is important because Skeeve has earned himself a reputation. His group has kind of earned this reputation, and I think it's important, as Bunny says, I think it is important that he looks the part.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's very good that she's here to assist with that.
So I always wondered if that was slightly autobiographical. And I've not looked it up, but it's like...
You think like his wife came in and she was like, no.
Or not his wife, or like maybe just somebody at a convention at some point.
Or something.
Or hell, maybe even Jodie Lynn Nye, who comes in to co-write with so many different authors. We'll talk about her once we actually get to the books she's co-written. But yeah, I almost felt like maybe someone else has been...
Approached this about Robert Asprin, like, you don't maybe really dress like an author.
But I don't really know. I think I saw a picture of him when I was looking up Jodie Lynn Nye. And he looks nothing like I would have thought he did. So, but that's how authors are.
True.
Or like radio personalities.
Radio personalities. Yeah. They never look the way they sound. But speaking of sound and speaking of voice, I don't know. I was reading the 5th Harry Potter book at the same time that I had to pick this book up, right? So the voice, when I started reading this, it sounded very, very different. Like, I thought maybe this narration was being done by somebody other than Skeeve. It did not sound like Skeeve to me. It sounded very different, and like I poked around a little bit just to see, maybe this is when he started co-writing with Llewellyn, or maybe there was
Jodie Lynn Nye.
Whoever. Jodie Lynn Nye, or I don't know, shut up. Or maybe somebody else edited it or something, but I couldn't find anything, so I guess he did, but it was just so different to me. Also, has he ever broken the fourth wall before? They've made mention to things that are of different dimensions, which some people you could say was sort of breaking the fourth wall. No,
because even in the first book, he talks directly. The narrator talks directly to the audience.
Yes, but he doesn't say things. He doesn't say things like, excuse me. He doesn't say things like shameless plug for the other books. And he doesn't say things like, it's not like back in chapters 2 or 3. And I was like, of this book? Are you literally doing that? Like, that was very unusual, and I do not think that they've ever done that before.
Yeah.
So it was weird. I was like, okay, and that's the only time they did it. That was it. There was no other mention to any sort of fourth wall breaking after that. I mean, there were still a couple of mentions of, I've mentioned in my previous exploits, about like Oz's personality or something.
Right.
But I don't know. It seems almost like Robert Asprin, now that this is the 6th book that he's in, it's sort of like he's trying to maybe get the point across that if you haven't read any of the other books before this one, you might get a little lost. And they can't really be standalone books anymore because, Jim Butcher, who writes the Dresden series, he'll put, in my opinion, he puts just enough in that, yes, if you're reading the 7th book for the first time, gods know why you would do that. But if you're not following the order and you read out of order, and number 1 is not the first one you pick up, if you don't pick up Stormfront first and you pick up something else, he usually gives you enough information that you can catch on. Now, for people who have read from the beginning, it's a little annoying.
Like in the Dresden Files subreddit, one of my favorite, about a month ago, somebody posted questions like, is is Dresden's car called the Blue Beetle because
it's blue on all panels?
Blue on all panels?
Is Murphy really short?
Yeah. And a bunch of these other questions, and
it gets, because they get addressed in every single book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way the poster put it is you think they're confused at first, but then you get to like the second or third one and you're like, oh, I see what he's doing.
Yeah, because at first I was like, what do you mean is the Beetle blue? What do you mean is Murphy short? And then I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was talking about how tall Dresden was, and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I see. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much like all the comments in that thread as well was everybody like, of course. Oh.
Yeah, they're like, what do you mean is his thing blue? Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay. Alright. It's like being a troll, but not. Well, it is being a troll.
It is being a troll.
But like not one of those stupid trolls that you want to punch in the face. This is more of a poke and fun at the repetitiveness.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, it seems like in this book...
We're getting less of that, definitely trying to make it a full series that you need to read from the beginning.
So let's see. So... I do think that of all the books we've read thus far, I've liked this one the best, but not because it had the best story or anything like that. But I think just like with the fifth Harry Dresden book, the writer has reached their stride and kind of knows how they want to write. They've really got like a peg on each of their characters.
Yeah.
They know exactly where they're going and everything.
For the most part.
It flowed very, very well. Nobody seemed to have any random lines. Everything seemed very natural. Yeah. And it did a good job.
And I really liked how every character actually had a character. We have 4 female characters who are characters. Like, you can't say any of them are a copy of the others.
No, yeah, they're distinctive characters,
now,
which is nice.
He's still working out with Tananda, like, what is Tananda going to be? And after this book, we'll start, like, nailing down Tananda. She's no longer just the sex interest.
Yeah.
If Skeeve wants that, he has Bunny.
Oh, Bunny. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he'd ever try anything with Bunny. I mean, Don Bruce is still like, well, maybe you'd make a good husband, and he's like, you know.
So, yeah, I would wish better for Bunny, but I almost kind of shipped them, like, once they actually started talking. I was like, because Skeeve did say, you know, definitely not right now, but maybe in the future. Yeah. And it's like, okay, laying down groundwork. If it doesn't turn into anything, I wouldn't be surprised. If it does, it would be cool, but, yeah, it's not like any of those ships that I'm like, oh, this must happen, or anything. It's just one of those, I don't know if anything comes from that. But, yeah, once Bunny ended the sex kitten routine.
Oh, yeah. But I'm still confused. Like, I don't know. I was very confused why she was the way she was. It wasn't really very well explained, because she was clearly much smarter. She was very intelligent, but her argument was that she couldn't really go and work in an office because of the way she looked. Because she's like, well, because of the way I look, everyone's going to think that I'm sleeping with the boss or the management or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's a sexist remark. You know, it's like, and I guess it's intended to be, but it's kind of the same problem I have with Masha. She's so very sensitive about her size and weight. And so she kind of assumes, well, I can't do this or that because of my size. Yeah. And I'm still flustered by that. I'm like, that's not really fair.
So again, it's a lot like Piers Anthony's, like his early books, where I feel like they're trying to put commentary out there, some sort of like social commentary, that kind of stuff.
But you can put commentary out there without your female people
it's not executed especially well in either case.
I mean, Tananda, again, she is better, and because she's always presented herself as what she is. She is an assassin. She's a trollop, which is just the female word for troll, which I still think still brings kind of a smile to my face. I'm like, she's a troll.
Yeah, it's a pun that kind of works.
I mean, I like the pun.
Like, I'm okay with that pun.
Yeah, I'm okay with that pun too. But you know, I still feel like Tananda is not a character that you can just pull out of a hat. The other two, I'm not convinced are really individuals in their own right yet.
Which other two?
Bunny and Masha.
Bunny and Masha?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're still caricatures, I think.
Bunny, yes, like, if you only read this book, then I would definitely agree. Bunny does come out enough that in later books, but
we're talking about this book.
Right, but when you come back and read this book, it's all there.
I'm sure it is. And I know we're just getting started with Bunny, which is fine.
Yeah. But yeah, Masha still needs a little work. Tananda needs a lot of work. What did you think about Marky?
I called it. That she's the axe.
Spoilers, by the way. Oh.
Look, this is like a review. This is a book review channel. Should we just put like spoilers in the like comment area all the time? Like BT dubs, this is for if you've already read the book, we're gonna spoil it for you.
Yeah.
I like that she is using her appearance to more of an advantage than Bunny does, in my personal opinion. Because as a child, like she says, you can get away with more because there's that naive innocence that you associate with children. So it's okay that they shoot their mouths off. They don't really understand tact yet. It's okay that sometimes they lose their temper and they act out more than they should. They haven't learned control yet. So I think it makes sense that she would be a great character assassin. I think that was a good choice. But here's my question. At the very beginning of the book, okay, we're at a poker game, right?
Yep.
And Skeeve, accidentally or not, wins all that, like the majority of the hands. Okay, he wins very, very well. He does very well.
Yeah.
Pidge, short for pigeon.
Yep.
Is the guy who says, well, I'll leave you my mark, my IOU, or whatever, and that turns out to be Marky.
Yep.
Okay, so who is Pidge? That's my question, because Marky says, that's my daddy. Clearly, that's not her father. I don't think, because she says in the dimension she comes from, that's just the way her people are.
Pidge has got to be
a partner or an associate or something.
Handler.
But we never see him again. And I'm sitting here going, what happened to Pidge?
Yeah, no, that... Because it also threw me because part of the plan was to use... I mean, clearly the geek has accepted Marky as a marker before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does the geek know that Marky is the axe? That's one question. I doubt it because you wouldn't trust the geek like that,
right? And she says that to the others. She's like, you know, don't tell anyone else who I am.
So her handler probably just does that as a tactic.
I wouldn't use the word handler. I feel like you use that word and it does not mean what you think it means. What are you using it as? Because like the president has handlers, but they're pretty much his bodyguards. They're CSA members. CIS. CSA. CSA is something completely.
So, like, just...
Because a handler is somebody who takes care of you.
Yeah, but, like,
she doesn't need anyone to take care of her.
Not to take care of her, but to get her into the situations where she can do her work.
Well, that's why I say he's a partner or an associate.
Partner.
But he never gets mentioned again.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what happened to that guy?
But, like, so the plan to get Skeeve relies on Skeeve going ahead and covering Pidge's IOU, which is one thing, and then two, not wanting the geek to keep Marky just in case he does sell her to slavers. So that's two marks of being a good guy that Skeeve has to pass in order to even get set up with the axe. Which, now granted, I mean, she's like an assassin. She's character assassin, so she probably doesn't really mind too much who she takes down, but it's still kind of a weird way to get or get set up to character assassinate someone is by only getting their due to them having too good.
No. She said that she has to tailor make each plan.
Yeah.
So she probably already knew ahead of time that he was a good enough guy that he wasn't going to do that.
Right.
And then.
But she still took the.
Yeah.
Job. I don't know.
She still took the job, but then the longer she stayed with him, she was like, "Oh well, let's see. His friends are not abandoning him. Not that he's pushing or pulling for them to do so. They're reacting in a way she didn't expect. So she's like, well, you're really, you know what, you're a good guy, and I'm not going to do this. But I don't think we ever actually found out who hired her.
We did. A bunch of the just minor magicians around the bazaar who are upset that he's taking.
Oh, that's right. They pulled their money. Jobs. That's right.
And then they tried to get Vic in on it, and so we see Vic again. He's doing his own thing, and then that's all we know. So, not much there.
We have the briefest glimpse of Luana, who I hope she doesn't really come back. Luana kind of annoys me in a way that I can't really place.
Yeah, she's super annoying.
I don't really know what to say about her. Like, I would say it's just because she's so feminine. But that's an insult. So it's kind of like,
She's not a well-defined character because she has made her living on scamming people. She's kind of like, or she's a grifter.
Yeah.
But then
she's not cool like Sophie.
And it seems like we, the reader, through Skeeve, are supposed to believe her and believe that she's not a grifter and she's innocent. And it's kind of this weird dichotomy. It's like, no, she's a full-on criminal. You know, yes, she was with Matt or
I think Matt
whatever his name was.
Matt or Mike, something.
But she's a full-on criminal. And
I can't bring myself to trust her because just like in the previous book, I kept on thinking, gosh, I really hope she does turn out to be like the mastermind who's like really horrible to Matt and Vic, you know, like that one episode of Psych.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
You know, and it's just kind of like, oh no, she really is as boring and plain as she appears, and I'm just like. I mean, I don't really know how. I don't know, because you can't be from what I have seen in popular television, Leverage, Psych, things like that. You can't be an effective grifter or actor or con artist, whatever you want to say, without having personality. Like, you have to, the point is to make people trust you, to make people feel sorry for you or want to help you.
And that's my thing with Luana, it feels like she's putting on this innocent wayfish stuff to get, like, I feel like when she came to the door asking for a job, that was her starting to put a long con, or even a short con on Skeeve. And then she came to realize, oh, there's a lot more going on right now that I'm not going to be able to do it. And then she leaves.
Well, I think we're supposed to believe that it's because Bunny and Marky came flouncing out.
Right.
And Skeeve keeps saying, oh, it's my girlfriend. And they even question that. They're like, she's your girlfriend? He's like, well, no, not yet. And I'm just kind of like, okay. That's... That's
not how it works.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
No.
So it's still sort of, I don't know. But Luana's not really in this one, so we don't really have to focus on
I don't even know if she comes back after this.
I sincerely hope not.
Yeah. So we can completely ignore her. She was just kind of this weird Skeeve going through a phase thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so what about the chapter quotes?
You know, I didn't really see one I liked.
No, neither did I. Really, the only one that kind of made me do a half smile was the very last one, chapter 20, where it says, so what else is new? Walter Cronkite. And I'm like, Okay, but yeah, all the other ones, I don't know if it's just because I don't really know who they're referencing or
yeah,
who
some
it
of them I didn't know who they were
like,
referencing. Shut up and deal FDR. It's like, It just, a lot of meh quotes this time. Or like Quasimodo, I need all the friends I can get. It's like, well, not
Yeah, it's weird that really this is probably the most well-written of the books thus far, and yet the quotes really fall flat.
Maybe he actually spent more time writing them.
Instead of looking for silly quotes. Maybe.
Let's not be rude. But it's true. Have we talked about all the characters? Oz has a moment of parenthood, which was interesting to see.
It was a good attempt at kind of a tender moment between Oz and Skeeve, where Oz is like, I never really consciously thought of you as a son, but I guess on the other hand, I
treated it like a second chance.
Like a second chance.
Because he's a grandfather.
Yeah, and he says he really wasn't a great parent, but...
Which I believe.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was interesting. I'm not really sure if any, for lack of a better term, interdepartmental relationships were improved or not.
Yeah.
Because we still have that thing where, Tananda feels lost or trapped. She's not really sure what she wants. All this, which I guess I can kind of understand.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense in her character that she would come back soon as she heard the axe was after Skeeve.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But yeah, she's kind of in this limbo stage. Not actually, limbo dimension from last book, but in this limbo stage of she's starting to feel too comfortable, and that's scaring her.
Which I can totally understand.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, I don't know, I feel like that's something that usually happens with male characters. So I kind of like that it's happening to a female character, particularly one who is as physically strong as Tananda. I mean, I do like how she is an assassin, she is well trained, she's an active member of the guild. She and her brother do still take assignments, so it's nice that she's still doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the idea that the prospect of actually settling down in one place, all of a sudden there is this child, she's not actually a child, but a child there, I think it would scare off somebody like Tananda. So you keep on saying that Tananda's not very well defined, but again, I still think she's the best defined female character of the books. So far.
Well,
because remember,
I would agree with you on that.
Any of the other ones.
And I would say she's still improving.
Yeah.
Next book, which is my least favorite, unfortunately. We do get a bit more with just like her and Chumley together. And then we can see a little bit more from their perspectives, and it starts working a little better. But yeah, no, she I like her as a character. But yeah.
Yeah, I like her too. I mean, again, I'm not as pleased with either Bunny or Masha, just because they're playing two very distinctive stereotypes that rubs me a little bit the wrong way.
Yeah,
Masha's getting better. I'm still very new to Bunny. I'm not entirely certain if I like her yet.
Right. And we only see a little bit of who she is kind of at the end of the book when she negotiated a deal, because, she has training as an accountant.
Mm-hmm. An accountant for the mob.
Yeah, accountant for the mob.
That's an important note.
Yeah, it is. And so we'll see more of that aspect of her, and I don't know about next book. I don't remember much of what happens in next book. But at least after next book, the idea of her being a mall kind of disappears. And she's kind of the money manager.
Well, and that's fair. That's what we're going for.
Right.
I mean, that's, as you say, one of the major changes in this book is now, instead of it just being a partnership between Oz and Skeeve, now it's a company, and everyone has a say in this, that, or the other, and it can't just be people focusing on the problems that arise with Oz and Skeeve,
because they make a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's got to be everybody else.
And that is one point of growth with Skeeve, is he's starting to notice that other people.
The world doesn't revolve around him. Holy
oh my god! I mean, and let's be fair, every kid has to go through that at some point.
Yes.
And if you're like Harry Potter and the world kind of ends up actually revolving around you for a while, it's kind of hard to notice that there's other people.
Yeah.
Which is true for Skeeve, because it's pretty much just been him and Garkin, and then him and Oz, and then all of a sudden him as a huge magician. So even though he wasn't like any sort of chosen one,
yeah. Speaking of Harry Potter.
Oh my goodness.
I have been rereading, and I'm like dead smack halfway in the 5th book. Again, like I told Paul the other day, I haven't reread the series since we started doing this channel where we're like analyzing and actually looking at books and doing this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden I'm sitting here going, wow, there's just one plot hole after another. There's all of this stuff that doesn't add up, that doesn't make sense, that is completely not in continuity, and I'm just sitting here going,
I'm super happy to hear you say, because like,
don't get me wrong, I love Harry Potter.
Yes.
I am one of those kids that did not read at all as a child, and then I discovered Harry Potter, and now I read voraciously.
I mentioned this every Spin a Yarn Knife
No,
episode.
I know, but well, since I started rereading it, yes. But
even
yeah.
Before then. But yes, because when I read Harry Potter, I appreciate it. It's a good series if you can ignore the plot holes and everything. Now I did not connect with Harry at all, so that made it a little bit harder for me. I still loved the world, even though it still made no sense.
The world building is actually very, very good.
But like, when I think about Harry Potter critically, it, to me, is not a good series. It's not good writing. But yet, J.K. Rowling is like the richest woman in England, or she was for a bit of time. I don't know if she still is.
She might still be.
She very well might still be.
She had more money than the monarchy, so
yeah. And a lot of people loved it, and it got people into reading. Mm-hmm. Like Catherine, so I super appreciate it. And like I said, it's a fun read. Mm-hmm. Especially if you can actually identify with any of the main characters. But yeah, I was always just kind of this outsider. I was like, but it's not very good. So it is nice to hear you saying that you're noticing plot holes, and it's like, okay, good. I'm not the crazy one.
I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the perfect end-all be-all series. Top up.
Yes, please. I mean,
but
if you look at numbers, it kind of is.
well, okay, fine. But I'm just saying that, like, yeah, I can see that it isn't perfect. I can see now that, there's, especially since I'm reading them back to back to back, there's inconsistencies.
Yeah.
There's little things that got added in sort of randomly, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, especially when she started being forced to put them out on a schedule. Like, her first book, see, I would say her first book is top-notch writing.
First book is probably the best book. Agreed. She had all the time in the world to work on it.
One thing that, like, threw me when I read that first book, like, for the second or third time, or fifth or 10th or whatever, is how every scene is connected. There's nothing that comes up that isn't brought up later, that doesn't foreshadow something. Everything's connected. And then when the movie came out, it just kind of like bounced on the tops of all the highlights of all the drama, which I know a lot of people liked the movie.
Oh no, the first two movies I think everyone agrees were not the best.
Well, people who haven't read the books liked the movie and said they understood it and it made total sense, and I'm like, how could it? They're missing all of this information of why these things tie together like that. But yeah, once we got to like book 4 and beyond, it definitely gets to the whole, we need to get books out there, and then they were getting bigger and bigger.
I mean, I've got to be honest, as I go through the books, the third third book is hands down my favorite. The fourth book is when I start to get a little bit like, it's going to be a bit of a chore to get to the seventh. Yeah. Which, I really like the seventh. The sixth is probably my least favorite. And not just because I'm a spoilers! If you haven't read the sixth Harry Potter book, stop and don't listen to me right now. Go past this part. But, you know, not because Dumbledore dies. Quite frankly, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Dumbledore is by far not my favoriteest character in the book, so I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I guess that sucks. But, you know, it's just, the sixth book is a little tedious. There's a lot going on, and we learn a whole lot about Tom Riddle, which is very important. But, it's very tedious, particularly with Snape and Malfoy and just all of the drama llama that happens with Ron and Hermione and I think Lavender or whoever it is he's kissing all over the place. I don't remember. And then the situation with Harry and Ginny, and it's just kind of like, it's turned into a Days of Our Lives situation here, and I don't want that. I don't want it. So,
okay, you know what we need to do?
We need to get back on topic is what we need to do.
We need to get back on topic.
We're talking
I think
about
after we
finish...
after we finish... Or we should just add Harry Potter to the lineup soon.
Actually, you know what? So
because it's a short series.
It is a very quick read series. You know, he's not...
I mean,
he's not being sarcastic.
7 of our episodes.
Yeah, he's not being sarcastic. We can cover each book in one episode, except maybe the fifth book. Because I'm halfway through it now, and I forget how much happens in the fifth book. Like, he starts to learn
Okay, anyways.
He has to start taking private lessons with Snape in the fifth book, and I always think that's the sixth book. But,
let's get back on topic.
Anywho, little myth marker. So again, I think, as you know, thus far, it's definitely the best written book so far. Again, I'm not still totally sold on Bunny or Masha. Yeah. I liked Marky, and Shenanda's getting better. Ooh, I like how we get a little bit
of change.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of insight into Nunzio. I kind of like that.
Yep.
Like, he was an animal trainer and he was an elementary school teacher.
Yeah, it always throws me off, because we get that with Guido as well in a later book. It's like, Guido and Nunzio both did a lot before they joined the mob, and it's like, who are these people? Like, they're almost Gary Stewish. Not that it's a self-insertion, but they're almost... have too many things, and we'll talk about that in like 2 books, I think. It's almost like they have too much going on, or 3 books, too much going on to like be realistic, but it's really fun, the whole juxtaposition of this mob, but then like they're all educated in theater or animal trainers, or they were... I mean, I'd say I'd be surprised that one of them was a school teacher, but let's face it, kids and the mob, pretty much same thing.
Yeah, I kind of like how he instantly trained Gleep. Well, not instantly trained him, but you know, was able to kind of make him stop and make him sit and make him stay. And I was like, it's actually a good... It's... You can't do that with every... like creature you would want to train, because you couldn't really do it with a dog. You might be able to do it with a puppy who's not full grown yet. Yeah,
but then again, Gleep isn't full grown either.
Exactly. Gleep won't reach maturity for like 100 years or something like that because he's a dragon. Is the next book where we get an insight into everybody's different personalities, including Gleep? Yeah, the next... Yeah. Okay, well, we're not there yet. But, you know, so I really liked, and then he, you know, sat down and had a talk with Skeeve, he and Nunzio, and it was a good scene. I liked that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I liked it. It flowed very, very well. The fourth wall breaking was still very
I forgot about that.
To me. It was just sort of out there. You know, it's not... It was almost... I couldn't honestly call it Deadpoolish, because when Deadpool does it, it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, because he's a character who is written very, very well. But, yeah, in this it was a little strange. Again, you know, Marky, I'm interested as to where she comes from. She said she comes from a dimension where that's just the way her people are. That's just the way they look.
Yeah, and we got it a little bit with the last book. Maybe this might not be her dimension, but with the last book, one of the events that the mob was trying to get into that Skeeve and the gang were messing up for them was like miniature wrestling or whatnot with the terrible twos.
Oh, yes.
So I almost wonder if that's the same dimension. Or at least a very similar one.
Maybe. I don't know. Because they're talking about Marky and how, you know, she looks like a little girl.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't really say that about anybody who's just like a little person or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... But I don't necessarily remember the Terrible Twos episode... book. Like, I'm trying to think, and I don't actually recall. What have we done?
Yeah, I don't think they were described as childlike, just small.
Yeah.
But with all the things we've seen, like Archers come from Archer and all this stuff, it doesn't really surprise me that there might be a dimension where everyone looks like a child. So.
Hang on just a moment. I think I messed up a little bit here. Now, you can't say yeah and then you do your own thing, because then people are just stuck watching us mess with our yarns. 1, 2, 3.
But that's why they join.
I don't think it is, actually.
Well, let us know in the comments. Do you like us talking about books or trying to figure out how to rethread needles? So yeah, no, this, because of the characters, so like, we'll get Bunny more. And I'm a big fan of Bunny. I think she's one of my favorite characters once, you know, we get past this stage. It'll take a few books to get there. Because, yeah, she's an accountant, and at one point she does meet,
Stop going into future books.
Fine, no more future books.
Don't talk about future books. We're talking about this book, or at least we're trying to. We keep getting off on tangents. That's the problem when you get into it, when you're talking about a series and you already know something else in the series.
Yeah. But yeah, so as I said, second favorite book. My favorite book, I think, is in like 2 or 3 books. Next book, not really excited about.
So next book, I think, like you said, is that we just get to...
Is Mythic Link.
Okay, and that's when we get a look into everyone's
specific.
So we're going to jump
Mythic
around
Link,
a little bit.
we're actually jumping into, they are a business now. So like there's multiple groups, each doing their own thing. And of course, since Skeeve is not around for everybody else's own things, it's one of those books that jumps perspectives, which is always difficult. And
it can be, if it's not written well, it can be very jarring and annoying.
Yeah. And some of the little mini episodes are enjoyable. So, we'll look at that. There's one that both Catherine and I dislike due to reasons which we'll talk about next time we talk about Myth.
Yeah, when we do that.
But
for next week...
We're going to talk about Lyriel.
Into the Garth Nix series of the Ahaborsons, or the Old Kingdom, I think is the name of this particular series.
Yeah, something like that.
With these 3. So we're getting into Lyriel, which will be very interesting indeed.
Yes, I'm a big fan of this main character, as far as I can remember. I've only read it once, maybe twice.
I've only read it once before as well, so I remember some things, but not everything.
Yeah. And then after Lyriel, we're going to read Dragon's Eye.
Is that the Douglas Adams one?
No.
No. Oh, the Dragon's Eye is the one written by the astrophysicist, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. Dragon's I make sure I have all the name correctly. No, Dragon's Eye is a Pern book. Dragon's Egg. Yes, Dragon's Egg by Robert L. Ford, Fordward, is a 1980 hard science fiction novel, which takes place on a neutron star, written by an astrophysicist. So, at least the science is good. And that's something I really enjoy, is when science fiction has really hard science, like written by actual
like The Martian.
scientists.
The Martian, a great book by Andy Weir. You know, I always plug it. I can't plug it enough. I've read it, I think, 4 times now. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Not the least bit because, you know, there's chemistry in it, and that's my background. But it's a lot of fun.
I don't know, I definitely, with The Martian, I do enjoy all of, like, the math. Not, like, the hard math, because there's not really any hard math, but, like, here's the multiplication, the number of this, number of these square feet, all this kind of stuff. For whatever reason, that does bring me joy.
Yeah, it's a very fun book. And no, it is not based on a true story. No one on Earth has ever been to Mars. It's fiction. It's just written with a lot of realism, intended. So, which is good, I guess. It shows
but similar to the War of the Worlds effect, where people tuned into that radio broadcast and
that was dark.
Thought it was legit, because I think War of the Worlds was also written by somebody who's very fluent in.
It was written by H.G. Wells.
Yeah,
I have no idea if H.G. Wells studied it. I will say that he writes a lot of science fiction, and I've read the Time Machine very recently. It's creepy, okay, in that this guy was alive during the Victorian era, so the late 1800s, and the way that he writes what he would perceive, or what I guess science would perceive, the end of our world to be like when the sun goes dead, or when it is dying, if it doesn't explode like some stars do, if it just slowly collapses and I guess eventually becomes a black hole. But like the idea of what the Earth would be like, specifically where this guy is, like he's in England, right? So he doesn't move in space, he only moves in time, which, I like that consistency. A lot of time machine things don't do that. They travel through space as well. It's like, it's not a TARDIS, okay? TARDIS is a TARDIS is a TARDIS.
So multiple problems with that.
Yeah, but it's still eerie and creepy. The description that we get at the end when he accidentally travels way into the future when the sun is dying and the Earth has changed drastically to the point that it's not safe. Everything's changed so much he can't even breathe because the atmosphere is wrong. Yeah. His lungs can't take in the oxygen that it needs. And it's really creepy and really surreal, and I was really caught by surprise when I was reading it. Like, wow, I didn't think that someone from the very late 19th century would have been able to write something like this, to the point that it's fairly accurate about what we think the Earth might be like.
Well, I mean, at this point, unless we get technology move Earth away from the sun, the first thing that's going to happen, the sun is going to expand when it dies, which is, many, many years from now. At least 3. Scientists say it could even be 5. But the sun will expand to the point that its radius will be larger than how far away the Earth is from the sun, so it'll swallow the Earth first before it starts collapsing on itself, and it is too small to become a black hole. I think it'll become like a brown dwarf, if I recall correctly. But, I mean, a lot of this is nowadays. Yeah. So it's like...
It's a little bit more recent.
Even with like super hard sci-fi that's actually using science of the day, if you're too far in the future, you do have to accept that, yes, that is legit science, but we know better now.
But yes. So
and then also, if the Earth is going around the sun, and the sun is moving around the galaxy. So if you jump that far in the future in place, not that we know this from special relativity, there's no such thing as a single place. It's all relative to other things. But we would end up halfway, sort of the way around
I see what you're saying, how they wouldn't move in.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But my argument still stands. He's still, like, at that longitude and latitude on the planet Earth.
Which
ball.
I thought other things do that
unless,
as well.
Unless maybe not, because at the end he's actually on a beach right next to the ocean. So
global warming.
So yeah, either England has sunk into the sea.
Yeah.
Or that particular continent has moved, continental drift. So either way.
Yeah.
But the longitude and latitude thing kind of stays the same, because that's the actual definitive lines that we've put on the globe. It's round. Anyway, I mean, there are several interpretations. No, there isn't.
No, there isn't.
No, there isn't. It's round.
I mean, the ancient Greeks knew this.
So, short episode today. But then again, it was a short book at barely 170 pages. So, but it was enjoyable. Yes, I kind of agree with Robert Asprin. Robert Asprin. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I do kind of agree with Robert Asprin that at this point, if you haven't read the previous books, you're probably a little lost. What with Chumley not doing the crunch routine at all.
You wouldn't even know about his crunch routine.
Exactly. He mentions it once.
Yeah.
And it's so, and then with how Masha came to be a part of the group, why she's his apprentice, why Tananda's hanging around, why
he's only now teaching her how to set things up.
Yeah, why he's only now teaching her how to light a candle. Why is it that Oz, even though if Oz was the teacher, how come he doesn't appear to do any magic? Well, because he can't.
That's not mentioned at all.
It's not mentioned at all, like, really anymore. I think it'll be mentioned in a later book, because he's gonna go. We're actually gonna go to Perv at one point.
Yeah.
To meet his mom, which I can't remember if I liked that book or not. So we'll find out about that.
Well, that book is no spoilers, but that book is unfortunately like Skeeve alone, and Skeeve is not good enough to hold a book on his own.
No, he's kind
which
of
is also kind of why I like this book, because we have so many very personable characters.
Yeah, we got a lot of characters
that we can follow about. Oh, we didn't even mention the kid.
Oh, the poker player. Oh, he was awesome.
I love that whole scene.
It was a great scene.
Yeah,
Everything
when it's like skill
fabulous.
versus luck.
Everything was fabulous and wonderful and perfect.
Because I was reading that the very first time. I don't know, maybe I was 2. No. Very first time reading that. You're reading it and you're like, Skeeve hasn't looked at his cards. He hasn't looked at his cards. What's going on? Mm-hmm. And then, finally the kid mentions that. I was like, what's happening? And Skeeve's like, listen, there's no way I can beat you with skill. What got me here was luck, so we're going to test luck, which no amount of skill can beat one hand.
Hi, kitty.
So, and then they won and went home.
It was so.
And Oz was upset.
And it was great. Like he asks, "Oh, how much is the mint worth?"
Yeah.
And then he pops it in his mouth, and it was just like, what?
Skeeve got a little sass in him.
He got a lot of sass in him. I was like, oh, okay, I like
Which
that.
is, again, one of the things I do like about Skeeve. Like, when we look back at this whole series, if we do a retrospective, he's fearful a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, he can make snap decisions and be sassy in the face of adversity. Mm-hmm. And he has that going for him. It's just the previous part where he's thinking about it
that can kind of mess it up.
That he worries too much.
Yeah. Is this Iris? If you don't know him.
He's Iris.
He's our baby. Oh. He's a big baby.
So, thank you for watching.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you got a few rows in, or whatever you're working on. I got a few decent rows in. I got some beads in there, and got a few Got a few rows past the beads, so that's good.
Yay.
I'll put it on his arms.
Oh.
There he is. He's
Now
very
it's
good
covered in
for it.
black fur.
Now it's covered in black fur. Oh, now I can't see. Can't see his ears.
No.
Oh, airplane ears. Okay, there we go. Pop back up.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of trouble with my things. Hopefully I'll have new needle minders for next week too.
Oh, that's right, because we went to Disneyland. I've never been to Disneyland. Disney World? Yes, we're on the East Coast. Disneyland? First time.
Well, yeah, because I got some pins that I'm going to convert to
Needle
minders from Disney World, which we went to. And then we just went to Disneyland, and I still haven't made them yet, so...
We only got one pin. No, I got some Haunted Mansion pins. But you can't have them, they're mine. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
all
so
right.
next week, L'Oreal. Week after that, Dragon's Egg by somebody Ford.
Hey, do we own that book?
No, we're going to have to order. I was going to do it next week,
We gotta go.
but we need to order it and then read it, so Robert Ford.
Gotta go to Barnes & Noble or something. Support your local bookstores because they're dying and it's sad.
I just got a Barnes & Noble gift card, so I should use that.
Yes, we should go to Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
Many fun things.
We're
there.
going to Barnes & Noble's.
Hashtag not sponsored.
It's true. Hashtag should be sponsored.
I used to work for Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
I also used to work for Borders.
Until they sadly went away.
And they died.
Alright, well, thank you for joining us. Join us next week, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Tea
time for those of us in the best time zone.
Yes, Eastern. We're on the East Coast. I said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is good because our European viewers and our Californian viewers can
tune
be
in.
close.
Yeah, can tune in 3 hours in the
So
past.
at 1... Well, no, it's...
At 1. It's a 3-hour time difference. We start at
1
4.
p.m. for California.
Yeah, 1 p.m. for
And then I
California,
think-
2 p.m. for
and
the
then
Midwest.
England is 5 ahead, so 9 p.m. tea time for England.
It's a late tea time.
Because tea time for England, 4 p.m., 5 plus 3 is 8.
We can work it out later, but the reason we have to work it out is because the Earth is round.
Wow.
Anyway, have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. Did that work? No. Bye.